Electricast.
Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, whatever the occasion, it just got a little more personal with meaningful photo gifts from Shutterfly. Add a silly photo to a gold-rimmed mug for your bestie. Put your sweet puppy on a cozy fleece blanket for your teen. Gift your husband a desktop plaque featuring all the kids. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with code POD40 at Shutterfly.com and make something that means something.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, and today we're talking with Jeanne Omlor. Jeanne is a business strategist, seven-figure online business coach, and certified servant leadership executive coach. At 54 years old, she was a solo parent in deep debt and got herself online and to $1 million in 17 months without ads and has since scaled to multi-millions in 5 years. Her company has helped over 400 businesses to thrive online. She is emotionally connected to helping others make money as she lived in lack for years and overcame that mindset. She is now helping as many people as she can to maximize profits and reach their full potential while being the visionary they're destined to be. Jeanne, I love what you do. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Great to be here, Leslie.
Well, I'm so thrilled to have you here today because I absolutely love the opportunity to interview women who are making such a meaningful impact in their industries and in the lives of others. And for me, hosting this podcast has become a way to highlight the incredible work women are doing, to share their stories, and to inspire my audience with fresh perspectives and actionable advice. So I'm really, really thrilled that our paths crossed because I knew right away that your expertise is a perfect fit for this financial empowerment series. And I know our listeners are going to walk away with so much value from our conversation today. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right in and talk about what you do and the incredible journey that's brought you here. So so you've achieved an extraordinary turnaround going from deep debt to building a multi-million-dollar business in just 5 years, which is incredible. Can you share what motivated you to take that first step and what kept you focused on your goal during those challenging early days?
Well, I mean, really, the motivation was supporting my children. That was the monetary motivation, and the deeper psychological motivation was to model success and resilience for my daughters. That you can go through hard things, but you can always pick yourself up and start all over and redeem yourself, reinvent. And I think that was the lesson that I really wanted them to see. And I thought, well, I have to show them, I have to be that. I have to be that person. We have to be the identity of the person that turns things around and believes and makes it happen. So when you're not successful, it's hard to imagine. And then you and you're like, wow. And by the way, you're never done. There's always another level you want to get to, by the way. And that was it. I'm like, we have to thrive. And also, I do not want to see my daughters see me just fail, period. We fail for good. Yes, we fail in things, but not to be the identity of a failed life, a failure. So yeah, we all know we fail at certain things, but then am I the failed state? So that was the motivation to begin with. And of course, coupled with that is another motivation, which has grown more and more, which as I was helping people, I became I'm addicted to helping other people to thrive because that rocks my boat. And that is very motivating because you help people, they make more money, they're more successful, they're happier, they have better lives, their relationships do get better. And the anxiety is, less. So that to me is noble to help people to have better lives. And, you know, they say money doesn't make you happy. Well, it kind of does to an extent. Because not having money can make you unhappy unless you're extremely evolved. Most people, if they're worrying about paying the rent, paying for school stuff, paying for their kids to do things, or paying for themselves, or not being able to have a vacation, or not being able to fix the car, or being late with bills, and then having health issues, and then the money being drained because of the health issue, that doesn't create happiness. It does not. Extreme worry and stress and anxiety about your livelihood, that can be an impediment to truly being happy. Yes, you'll find happy moments, sure, but it's hard to be truly happy when you have those basic needs not met. And it's stressful. So for me, that motivation has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, how do I help more people to thrive? Because if people at least get to the point where they're not worried about paying the bills, then they can ask those more, those bigger existential questions. Then they're higher up on Maslow's hierarchy. Okay, now that that's taken care of, now what can I do? Now how am I going to create more happiness for me and others, and value and fulfillment? And then the conversation is elevated to a higher level of impact. And the word impact is so overused, but that's really the only word for it. Helping others, having a mind to serve others, to serve God. You can't serve other entities when you are just worried about your everyday existence. So I think it'd be great if I could get more people out of that worry so they can then, okay, what do I do now? Now what do I do? What's the next level? What's the next level? That's when you can start feeling like your life is being really fulfilling.
Absolutely. And that really kind of transitions us really well into the next question, because it is about mindset, right? And it's about how we shift what our perception is, because we can look at things. I'm working with someone right now who has some really great skill sets, some really great qualities. And yet there's this mindset belief that none of that matters because of all of this other stuff, right? So overcoming a scarcity mindset is something you've experienced firsthand. So what are some key mindset shifts that you made which allowed you to transition from living in lack to building a thriving business that now you're able to go out into the world and really help others?
Okay, the shift I made was actually practicing mindset every day. There's no magic bullet. It is a practice. Everything is a practice. Marketing is a practice. Working on your mindset is a practice. So it's not like, hey, I did one thing and boop. It was like, wow, I'm going to do morning mindset every morning to get myself into a state of belief and an altered state that I can do this. Because if we wake up in the mornings and we're like got that twisted feeling in our chest and it's like, oh, I'm just going to get through this day and I don't really believe it's going to work. It won't work. You have to at least get yourself in the morning to a point, even though you're stressed out, and it's that, okay, yes, I believe this will work if I do the work. And if you don't do that mindset when you're really struggling, it won't work. Because it's a practice. And if you don't start that practice, depending how bad your mindset is or how your mindset is not helping you or serving you, then you've got to not say, okay, I'm going to do this, little mindset thing once and just hope it works. Nothing works once. Things work because it's done in repetition. You're doing the reps. You're doing your mindset every morning. You're not doing it once. You're, writing out your gratitude every day if that's part of your mindset. You are listening to affirmations every day, or you're just like, okay, I'm going to get myself to a state of belief in the morning. Now, the day might pass, and maybe at the end of the day, you've lost some of that belief, but at least for half the day, you were fueled on belief, and yes, this is going to work. But it's very, very hard to become a success at anything if your mind is not there.
Yeah, I love that, what you shared. I really truly believe that And again, what I really love about what you were saying is daily. This is a lifestyle choice. It's not about, oh, I go through a program or I listen to an app for a month and then that's it. It has to become a habit that supports you, because every day where life happens, sometimes we get hit with multiple things, and sometimes life, it can be really hard. And if you're not, like you were saying, practicing and making sure that you're good so that you can believe that you can do the things that you say you want to do, that the life you want to live, if you're not doing that daily, it can be really super easy to fall back into the traps of the negative self-talk. And, again, even mindset gets used so much that people think, oh, that's just a buzzword, but it really goes deeper. The way I look at mindset is, what are you thinking and where is that coming from? And getting curious about it, becoming really curious about why you say the things to yourself inside your own brain that no one else can hear, but you're repeating them. They're on repeat for you. Like, where's that coming from? It's so important to really dig into it. So I love the fact that you've made mindset a daily practice, because it is about doing the work. Life is work.
Right. Well,
And it's not a bad
prayer.
thing.
It's like prayer. You don't pray once. It's a practice, right? You don't just pray once I said a prayer and I hope that God helps me. It's a prayer. It's a practice to pray, or practice a religion, or practice a musical instrument, or practice a sport. They're all practices. You don't do them once. Surely, Simone Biles didn't just practice gymnastics once. It's lifelong. That's a hard life, by the way. Just want to give credit. So the point is, anything that you want to do, stop being amateur and thinking that you're going to do something once. When in any of our lives, at any school or any job or anything we've ever done, have we done something once and it's been just amazing and worked just immediately? When? Like never? Like almost never. Almost never. Right? So we need to take responsibility as adults. There's a lot of adults walking around, and I know we got to, be in touch with our inner child, but we don't need to be our child. Like, we aren't children. It's great to be in touch with that. However, the reality is, if you're over a certain age, you are actually an adult. You have to act as an adult in this world, right? I'm not saying be serious all the time. Sure, be in touch with your inner child. But I feel like people aren't taking responsibility for outcome. If you want an outcome, you are either going to do whatever it takes to get that outcome, if it's not immoral, illegal, or unethical. Those are the 3 no's, right? But barring any of the bad stuff, you're going to do whatever it takes to get the result you're after. Okay? Now, there's 2 types of people. There's the people that understand that. They're actually the minority. And that is a good thing for the people that are dedicated, because actually the playing field for people that'll do what it takes to be successful is so small. It's much easier than you think if you're dedicated. It's really much easier, because most people are not willing to do what I was willing to do. And I know that. So to me, I never thought there was competition. I don't even think of competition. Sure, there's other coaches, but I know that most of those coaches are never going to be prepared to do the work and the soul searching and the research and everything that I did. Okay. Some will, because they're highly successful. But really, when you understand the playing field is much smaller when it comes to crunching the numbers of the people prepared to do whatever it takes. Okay. That's the first type of person. The second type of person, they're all beautiful people. And some move from one to the other, by the way. You're not have branded that you have to stay in one category. You can move from one category to another, actually. Then there's the other people, and I've spoken to a lot of these people in my life, are not prepared to do whatever it takes. They're definitely not prepared. They're prepared to do stuff that suits them, like perhaps, let's say there's a coach and they want to make $1 million a year or get to 1 million, right? And they'll like, well, yeah, I want to get to 1 million, John. Great. And then you'll say, okay, so this is what we need to do. Oh yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay. Then they don't really want to get to 1 million. They want to get to 1 million if it suits them with the amount of work they want to do or the amount of trouble or getting out of their comfort zone. So, but then they'll say, but you know what? But I started a podcast. Brilliant. But it's not going to get them where they want to go. But they just chose, and I'm not saying a podcast is bad. I have a podcast, but I didn't start the podcast because I needed that to get me to 1 million. I did that after I was already making millions because I just wanted a podcast, right? I want to speak to people. So what I'm saying is, and then some people, so much pain at dealing the way they're dealing that they are not getting what they want, that they will move from the category of not being prepared to do what they want to say, okay, do I really want this or am I going to give it up? Okay. Because if people aren't prepared, they should just give it up and have a nice life and just say, look, I was never prepared. Instead of the worst part is the people in the middle that want something, aren't prepared, but just keep doing just stuff because they're never going to get it. And it's a lot of work and they're just living in pain. That's the worst place to be. Those people should ask themselves, am I truly dedicated to doing whatever it takes? If they're being honest with themselves and it's been going on for a while and they're not, they should just say, look, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to have a nice life. I'm going to just enjoy my life and do what it is that I'm comfortable doing, but give up those lofty goals. Or they should get themselves to the point where they will do whatever it takes if that's what they really want. And I've had people have that shift right before they hire me. They're like, you know what? I haven't been doing what I needed to do. And I do want this. Great. What are you prepared to do? I'm going to do whatever it takes now. And they move into the category where they could perhaps be successful because now they're going to do what it takes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. But also too, it's sometimes you just need that little kick in the butt,
Right. But you have to be willing to take the kick in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be willing to take the kick. And be open enough to say, wow, I have another enormous mountain to climb and it will not be easy. And I'm going to have to get out of my familiar zone. It's not a comfort zone. There's nothing more uncomfortable than living your life, doing things and not having it work. It's not comfort. It's familiar, but it's a painful familiarity. I call it. Okay. Yeah. It's not comfort. It's just the fear zone. You have to be willing to crash through that fear zone and be a little scary and say, wow, it's actually exhilarating because you're doing stuff you wouldn't have normally done. And it wakes up your whole brain and your whole body is just like, oh my goodness, I'm crossing that line into some new territory and it's exciting. And that is where real growth occurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that you've helped over 400 businesses to thrive in the online space, and it can feel like you're in this vast ocean of people or businesses or just, everyone's flailing their arms trying to figure things out. What common challenges have you noticed with entrepreneurs that they are facing, and how do you guide them towards those solutions that can maximize their profits and potential?
Okay, there are far fewer problems than people imagine. It boils down to I'm a very simple person, and you boil everything down into boxes and make it very simple. There aren't that many problems. They're all kind of three versions of the same problem. Okay, let's talk about the number one business obstacle. Okay, I'm not talking about the person, just a business obstacle. Is getting clients, client acquisition. This is the number one problem for not just coaches and consultants, for all businesses. Okay. Now we have some businesses that have no problem with that, but generally the biggest gap for businesses is I need more clients. That's it. Okay. So that's the biggest business problem to solve. How do we get people more clients? All right. Now, and even though a lot of people do not want to admit this, there is a shortage of clients in their business, but so that's the first problem. Then we have other personal problems, like psychological mindset problems. Number one is not wanting to admit that their business is not going well and therefore not getting the help. If you don't admit that you are, 100 pounds overweight, then you will not be able to get help to lose that 100 pounds, right? Because you're not admitting there is a problem. So you therefore will not be motivated to solve the problem or get help or do it yourself and go on a diet, right? So the first thing is there's a real problem with all businesses. It's not personal. Then there's the personal stuff. Okay, this isn't working. how do I admit I need help? Okay, so that's the first problem. The second one is people do not value themselves and their businesses enough to invest properly to make that work. Okay, obviously, I found clients that are aware of that. They pay us, they invest, and it works. But the vast majority are people that think they can figure, okay, I've heard this. I can just figure it out. I should be able to figure this out on myself. Why? Are you a rocket scientist? If not, why should you be able to figure out rocket science on your own? Are you an astronaut? Nope. Then why would you happen to be able to figure out how to be an astronaut? Are you a doctor? Well, no, but I should figure it out on my own. No, that's why we have medical degrees, is because you cannot figure that out on your own, right? And that's extreme. But when people hear that, like, oh, okay, then how come we are supposed to be able to figure out how to run a business on our own? Why? Because someone one day told a billion people, because it sounds like a billion people are telling me this, that, well, business, I should just be able to figure this out on my own. Why? Very hard skill set to learn how to run a business. So why are we told, oh yeah, no, I should be able to do this myself or I'm a loser? Get real. No, you shouldn't be able to do it yourself because it's hard. You should be able to pay a coach, consultant, or teacher or somebody so they can shortcut that for you and stop feeling guilty about it. That you are a loser because you didn't figure something out that you didn't know about yourself just because somebody told you once that there's something called YouTube University. Okay, you can't just go and Google stuff and figure out. Sure, it's going to be fragmented. It's not going to be in the right order. It's not going to apply to your business. That's not smart because getting a bunch of business advice is not business advice that you can use, not all of it. And they're doing it in the wrong order. Oh, somebody told me I should do this. Yeah, but that's not now. That's later when you've already made this and you have a team and blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, you will not be able to sustain that. So what are the problems? Not enough clients, not admitting they don't have enough clients, and they are lost, broken, and they need help. And I'm being kind of dramatic here, but it's not working. It is not working. Ask yourself, is this what I want as a life? Am I getting the clients I want? If not, stop the bleeding. Hire somebody that's done what you want to do. So say you are a startup. You hire a startup consultant that had a startup, that a successful startup, because they're going to show you what they did. Okay. If you're a coach, hire a coach that has done what you want to do. Don't hire the cheapest coach that's never done anything, but says, yeah, but I can help you. Because no, they can't. If they haven't done it for themselves, how are they going to do it for you? It doesn't make sense. So use logic. You want to find somebody that has done what you want to do, and you're going to just say, hey, show me how you did that. Okay, because they've been through all the problem solving to get where they are, that it's not just dispensing coaching. It's like, hey, experiential, outcome. This didn't work, this, but this worked. Okay, how do you know? Because it worked for me. And I've done this. That's what you need to look for, not the cheapest coach, not the cheapest consultant, not the cheapest course. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I absolutely believe that too. It is hard. You have to actually look inward to figure that out. Remember way back that I used to think I had to do everything. And oh, yes, I was not going to ask anyone for help. That was a big thing. I could go on YouTube, like you were saying, YouTube University. I could go there and find, yes, you can. You can go there and find a million people that are talking about the things that you want to do, but it's not the same as going through an actual experience with somebody who can take you through what they've gone the journey before you that you want, and they can show you the way, like you said, shortcutting it so that you're not getting distracted with all of these other things that come at you out of nowhere because you're saying yes to them. And so I love that idea. And then when you were saying yes, absolutely, not enough clients, not willing to admit it, and of course not willing to get the help, and instead they then stay stuck and not willing to give up. I think that it's not a bad thing to not want to give up, but it's really more important to actually make sure that what you actually are doing and what you want to do, you really actually have that clarity, like really understand it, and that you've actually lived the experience that you're trying to give someone else. Because there's a lot of, I don't even know if you've noticed this, but there are a lot of companies out there that are now advertising that you can become a business coach. Now, I've seen those things, and I'm thinking, why would I want to become a business coach when I couldn't tell you Like, I can't tell you exactly everything about business and how you should do business if I've not come from that background. It's not something that I actually went through. But there's a lot of coaches out there that are teaching people how to become a business coach, or that they have coaching programs meant for you to go through to become a coach, when really there's been a lot of people that just want to go through the coaching just to get coached on their issues to help them, live quality of life. So there's like a lot of that out there. And I don't know if you've noticed that out there, but yeah, I've noticed that.
100%. There's a lot of certifications that, see, people also think, oh, I'm just going to get a certification and people are going to flock to me. No, they won't. Why would they if you just went, and as you said, unless they're already or a business person and they just want to like find a framework, that's valuable. If you run a business and you want to be a business coach and you just want to find a framework, sure, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's sort of isolated cases, but also one of the other problems, I don't know if this is one of the biggest problems, so the problem, and I see it as a problem, people, they feel like they have to have a billion certifications to be worthy. Okay. And the fact is, we're all worthy right now. It's just like, do you have the knowledge to help people? Ability. The question is, can I help people get some sort of result, whatever it is that you're coaching on or your business? And I'm sure you have various entrepreneurs listening. So you don't, just because somebody has a million certifications doesn't actually mean they're good at what they do. Certainly certification is helpful in many cases, but it becomes a problem when it's just this career getting certifications because they're just avoiding learning how to market themselves.
Yeah, that kind of really sets me up for this next question, because one of your goals is to help people become visionary, right? And what they're destined to be. So how does someone balance the visionary aspect of business with the practical strategies needed for them to create the sustainable growth? Because I think that's really important, having the vision, but you have to have practical strategies too.
Exactly. So my market is visionaries who want to make money. So, because what we're hitting there is a visionary to me is somebody that wants to help other people. They're not just about like, oh, I just want to make some money. A visionary also has that piece where they truly, truly are driven to helping other people have some sort of transformation. Okay. So that's a visionary. And then you have some visionaries that have a broke mentality. They're just, they want to help people, but they're like, oh, I don't need to make money, or I don't need to learn how to do the business. I just want to help people. That's a problem. They're both a problem. It's a problem if you're just money motivated. If that's it and that's all you care about. It's pretty hard after you make the first million to continue if you're merely money motivated, because there's not a lot of meaning in that. Okay. But I was so motivated to help people that I just kept going. Okay. But so you have to have both. I believe to be truly successful, you truly, truly need to want to help people with your service or product or something. And you're motivated. This is going to do some good for some people, whether that's a company that creates clean water in Africa. Well, you're going to have to really care about Africans having clean water to sustain that business, right? And, sure, you want to make money with that as well, because you can. Or if you're a coach, you want to truly, truly help people transform their lives if you're a life coach. Oh, and by the way, I also want to become successful and make, because you're allowed. Okay. So it's the problem arrives when it's one or the other. Okay. Because then you have people in all sorts of businesses and all they care about is just the money, and they do not serve their clients or consumers well. We all know that. So that's a problem. So you have to have both for me to want to work with you, because I personally people that's just all about the money. And if they're just visionaries, they have to be on board that no, you can make money. It's good to make money. You're not a charity. So we help some of those people get into the mind that they shouldn't feel guilty charging people for the transformation. It's a business. Businesses make money. You have to get past that, because, they're lovely people, bleeding hearts. They're lovely. And that's not a business mindset. It's both together, and it's both beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, final question. For those who are listening who might feel stuck or overwhelmed, because I know that happens a lot, what advice would you give to help them start to take meaningful steps towards financial empowerment and as well unlock their full potential?
Okay, the first thing is always to neutralize your emotions. Okay. Now, neutralizing emotions is not the deep, deep, deep work of accepting the emotions and dealing with them. But to me, the head start is just neutralize your emotions enough to be able to take action. Because if you're stuck and worried, it's very hard to take action. So you've got to get yourself to a point where at least, and I actually do something with my clients that I created called instant shift technique to get them to a point where it's like, okay, my emotions are not now like keep in my way. Because the only thing standing between you, Leslie, and me, and anybody, and success is your emotions. Mainly fear, anxiety, which is still fear. That's all that's standing in people's way is fear. Fear of investing, fear it won't work, fear. Usually it's the fear of the money being lost. Okay. But you cannot run a successful business if you're at square one of just fear of losing your money. You're not expansive enough to be a successful business person because that tight energy of I'm so afraid, you're never going to open up enough to ask for the help you need, or you've got to invest. And some of those investments won't be good because that is the nature of investing. You know, investors are glad if 7 of their investments don't tank. They're glad if 7 out of 10 work. Did you know that? Like, that's like, whoa, this is fantastic. So I just feel like a lot of people don't understand the nature of investing. They're just like, started a business and everything has to work and I can't invest. I'm going to do it myself. And they're just on this mouse wheel. So basically, the first thing is to master your emotions or neutralize enough that you can get clear-headed enough to get a plan in place. Okay, what am I going to do? And a plan is not going on the internet and surfing and finding a bunch of free things to do that's going to fill your days. That is not a strategy. That's not a plan. So the plan has to be a strategy, not a bunch of tasks. What's my strategy? Okay, what do I want? Get clear. What do I want? Oh, I want to make 20K months. Great. Now I know what I want. How am I going to do that? Do I know how to do it on my own? Yes, then do it. Do you know how to do it? Do it. So that's the thing. Neutralize emotions, get clear, stop panicking. Okay. Clear-headed. What do I want? Get clear. I want that. Okay. Do I know how to do that right now on my own? Be real. If the answer is yes, then go do it. Why aren't you doing it? If there were yes, then go do it. If you don't know, be real about that and stop making excuses. The number one killer of a business is excuse making. Making excuses of why something's not working and blaming yourself. And I'm not doing that because of this. And it's just, you've got to put an X over excuses. Excuse-free zone. If you have an excuse-free zone and an ego-free zone, you will be successful because then there'd be no ego involved. Okay, I do need help. What do I do? Oh, I can't afford that. Yeah, you can. If you want something enough, heck, you know what? I was in deep, deep, deep debt and I knew that I needed help again. And I plonked down 10K on 3 different credit cards and added more to the debt because I knew I needed that help. So when people say I can't do that, I'm like, yeah, you can. Are you in deep debt? No, I don't have any debt at all. Oh, so you have a credit card? Yeah. Oh, but I can't use my credit card. Why? Because they're not dedicated enough to invest in their businesses.
Yeah. And there's that fear, like, and it comes back to money. A lot of people come back to that. They're looking at the way I see it is that they're looking at right now, the cost, like how much it's costing them to get the help rather than looking at the future costs of what it's costing them to not get the help. So
it's the loss. It's the cost of something not bringing money in is a bigger, like some people try to understand that and they go, I think I see what you're saying. If somebody's going to help you build your business, and let's just, you put a number. Okay. So let's say somebody says, okay, Leslie, it's going to cost XYZ. And you're like, yes, it's an investment in your health, right? Yeah. Well, what they're missing out on is feeling good and joy. And there's no price tag for that, right? And it will affect their business in a good way. It's going to affect their relationship in a good way. What's the price tag on that? If people aren't valuing there's no price tag. If people aren't valuing their lives, then they're like, oh, well, it's the X amount of money. Okay. Looking at me, my thing is money making. I'm the money gal. So it's not like some esoteric thing. There are other benefits of working with us, like just mindset shifts that people have told me they've lost weight working with us. We're not a weight loss coach at all. Good stuff happens, right? Let's say they have a $5,000 offer. Okay. And they spend the next year not selling it because they don't have the foggiest how to. So they've lost a year of their lives time is money. And also there's a lot of regret that happens because you just literally spent a year of your short life not making money and building your business. Then what was your point? Okay. So let's say they come in and we help them get 5 clients. Okay. They've made $50,000 starting now. Let's say they never do that. Well, they probably never make that $50,000 and then everything they could make after because they have what's called the fishing rod. Okay. So you're also giving them a fishing rod once they get those self-care strategies because they're going to use them over and over again. Exponential, compounded good in their lives. There is no amount of money that's worth more than any amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And again, I truly believe that self-care is the lifeblood to success in life and business, taking care of you, because everything else is important. If you don't take care of you, all of that other stuff, you're still going to have issues. And so I really feel like that's such an important aspect that I made sure of to be in my life. It's why I teach what I do, because I've lived it. I am a living example of that. And so now moving forward, I'm paying that back towards. And of course, it is a business, so it's not like I'm giving it away for free.
Yes.
But I still, I also, this is giving back to the community by having experts like yourself on the podcast to pour into the listeners so that they have, resources for other areas of their lives that they also need. Yeah. So that's why I started this podcast and really why I wanted this year, especially to really focus on personal development and financial empowerment right out of the gate, because I wanted to empower them to start right now, setting the stage for the year ahead and not waiting like so many months down the road and having these bigger year goals and not doing anything about it.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to have, people like yourself.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I'm really into self-care and I model that. I mention things to my clients like I'm doing a 22-day sugar-free challenge, okay? And then I give up sugar here and there, but it's also with a group of people and it's like serious. And I could see they're thinking, oh, not only does Jeanne help us make money, but she's also, they loved it. They're like, wow, you're doing that. It's also modeling good behavior about taking care of your health. And I'm not a health coach, but I do believe that you should also show a good example for a whole life strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeanne, it has been incredible having you on. Thank you very much for coming in and sharing your expertise, talking about mindset shifts, talking about your story and how you got to where you're at. And also I can tell how passionate you are to help other people, especially again, the visionaries of the world. These are the people that are the innovators, the people who are creating the new things in life that we get access to. And so having that visionary aspect, but also understanding that they can make money from this and still feel good about being a good person, because I think that's what probably it's coming down to. But I really enjoyed hearing about your strategies for growth, for mindset shifts, and again, your passion for empowering others. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Always glad to help people on a podcast.
Oh, thank you. And to our listeners, if you'd like to connect with Jeanne directly and learn more about her coaching programs and how she helps entrepreneurs thrive, be sure to check the show notes for her contact information. Remember, every step you take towards your financial and personal growth is one step forward to creating a life of purpose and impact. So stay committed to your journey and trust in the possibilities that await you. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time.
Hey guys, it's Miriam Love here, and I want to share something very special with you. Check out my new release, All In, the Spanish remixes, out now on Electric House Records. And always remember, be love, share love, all love.
Available now wherever you listen to music. For those of you who dream of a world where music and podcasts live together in perfect harmony, now for the first time, Electricast gives you a magical compilation, Pod Till You Drop, Volume 1, where we give you the best in tunes and the best in podcasts. Feast your ears and hear the culture. Available now wherever you listen to music.